Good afternoon, and thanks all for being here. Trash collection is not optional, and it's not nice to have. It's a basic public service that impacts the health and safety of every single person in our community. This week, over 65,000 St. Paul households are scheduled to have their trash picked up by a new provider. That change must happen on time and without disruption. But unresolved zoning issues threaten to derail that transition just days before it's set to begin. We will not allow that to happen. This morning, I declared a state of emergency to ensure the continuity of garbage collection through and beyond the citywide transition this week. This declaration allows our incoming hauler, FCC Environmental, to launch operations using their facility at 560 Randolph Avenue immediately. It temporarily adjusts regulatory and zoning requirements so that trucks can roll, so that routes can launch and garbage gets picked up as scheduled. It also gives us time to complete the permitting process review. It also gives us time to complete the permitting processes, review the site plan, and bring the matter forward at our next St. Paul Zoning Committee hearing scheduled for April 10th and Planning Commission meeting scheduled for April 18th. State law and common sense dictate that failure to pick up the trash would be unacceptable. This emergency declaration and the administrative order that accompanies it will temporarily suspend zoning requirements related to their use and operation of that site at 560 Randolph Avenue, allowing their vehicles to serve our residents immediately. To be clear, City Charter limits a mayoral emergency declaration to 3 days. We will ask our City Council to consider and pass a resolution at their meeting this Wednesday to continue the state of emergency for 90 days to offer our residents certainty while we resolve those remaining zoning issues. St. Paul residents should not have to wonder if their garbage will be picked up next week, or the week after that, or the week after that. That's the emergency we're responding to, and that's what this declaration and our opportunity to work together with our City Council, both through this, the pendency of the emergency, and as far as resolving the long-term zoning issues are concerned, that's what this is designed to ensure. And without further ado, I will ask our council member, Anika Bowie. We are in Ward 1, and Ward 1 council member Anika Bowie is here to share some remarks as well. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor. I am here today because there was a zoning disagreement among council members regarding this site, but that's not exactly why I'm here. I'm here particularly because residents deserve a clear and dependable path forward when it comes to trash collection. Our city staff are the best equipped to actually respond to our waste collection, and they've been doing their best under uncertain conditions. My residents need stability. They need to know that when their trash will be picked up without confusion or delay. We have a council meeting on April 2nd, and I'm prepared to support an extension of the emergency executive orders so FCC and our staff can continue providing garbage services. I'm also committed to ensuring a transparent and reliable process moving forward because essential services like waste collection shouldn't be caught in limbo. Thank you.
Happy to take any questions. In an ideal world, all of this would have been taken care of before that. Because there are still site issues and zoning issues outstanding, those zoning issues prevent our staff from finalizing the site approval. Without a site approval, our Department of Safety and Inspection staff cannot permit the trucks. And so it became clear as we had our staff working together over the last couple of weeks to identify what remaining options we had available to us, that, again, as we do the work of the long-term disposition of that site on Randolph, that an emergency declaration would give us the most latitude and the most surety. There were other potential options that we considered that wouldn't necessarily guarantee. Our residents deserve a guarantee. They deserve to know that their trash hauling will continue like clockwork. As the council member said, our staff based out of this site is absolutely prepared to continue that moving forward. FCC is as well. We have to make sure that zoning disagreement at City Hall never interrupts our citywide trash hauling, and that's what this emergency declaration is designed to do.
Mayor, what about all the people who live over there? Some of them are very upset by this and just think it could be located elsewhere, and they made some arguments that caught the attention of the city council. What about them? Do they have any chance of keeping this from becoming the facility that it's proposed to become?
Again, and I'll ask you to sort of separate the issues. I am prepared to speak to kind of our approach to the long-term issues. The first question is how we ensure citywide hauling. It would obviously be a calamity for us to put citywide hauling in jeopardy or to allow an interruption or some type of service disruption. And everything that we're focused on today is centered around not allowing that to happen. With regard to the site, it is a I-1 zone site. Zoning in the city, it's zoned for light industrial use. Zoning in the city is determined to, designed to let us know where residential properties are allowed, where commercial properties, office properties, and industrial, and all those other types of things. Thank you, Councilmember Johnson, for joining us as well. We appreciate you being here too. As a I-1 industrial site, that site is zoned for industrial use, is zoned for light industrial use. The site that we're on today, for example, is a I-1 industrially zoned site that the city purchased in close proximity to residential homes who rely on the types of services that we provide from this site and other I-1 type of zone sites. As the owner of a I-1 zoned parcel in the city, they have legal right to use that site for any purpose that's expressly permitted as under the I-1 zoning. The hearing before the City Council a couple of weeks ago was to determine whether the classification of a maintenance and dispatch facility, which is how we were describing what they were intending to do at the time, was similar enough to the public works and maintenance facility that is spelled out. Maintenance and dispatch facility is not specifically referenced in our zoning code. A public works and maintenance facility is specifically referenced in our zoning code and is specifically permitted in an I-1 site. FCC has revised their descriptions and revised their language in their applications for what they are planning to do at that site in a way that our zoning committee or zoning staff agrees is consistent with a public works and maintenance site. So in as much as people in this city live in homes and know that they have the right to purchase a home that's zoned residential and build a home there, someone who purchases a site that is zoned for light industrial use does have a legal right to establish that site for light industrial use, and that's what we expect the future to be at this parcel.
Mayor, can you say more about that? What have they changed in how they plan to use the site that would make it so that it would be acceptable?
Is that for you?
Or perhaps different for the neighbors, that they would see increased truck traffic? I mean, there's the concern from the neighbors that this is going to turn into the Midwest headquarters of Arlington.
Well, first, to be clear, it was the determination of our zoning committee. It was the determination of our staff and our zoning professionals that the site that they had described in the first place did indeed meet the definition, did indeed reflect what our zoning administrator would reflect as a public works and maintenance type facility. Trash collection is defined in state law as a public works activity. And so, to be clear, that was the determination of all of the experts and the operational staff who reviewed that. I'll ask DSI Director Angie Wiese to come and share any specifics about what exactly changed in their descriptions.
Thank you, Mayor. Angie Wiese, Director of Safety and Inspections, ANGIEWIESE. Thank you. I'm sorry. I have extra large pockets like any good Minnesotan has for this exact purpose. So, as I discussed earlier, the Public Works maintenance facility, Public Works yard, are allowed in I-1 zoning district. As the mayor said, it is expressly permitted, but there is not a definition in the zoning code for that. To do that, the zoning code again expressly says that if there's no definition, you use the ordinary terms of what is an ordinary context. And in this case, state law especially helps us out with that as it defines what public works activities are. And again, through the public process and FCC hearing the public testimony, was able to see their project through the public's eyes and those questions that were not included in their original ask for a statement of clarification. They have now addressed those. They have provided additional information to the city where the city is able to clearly say the work and the activity at 560 Randolph is the work and activity of a public works maintenance facility and yard. Full stop.
I have a question for maybe the mayor. I feel like, I'm not gonna be honest, like some,
I'll try my best.
no, like something got goofy on this, like, did someone not anticipate something was gonna happen that was gonna screw up the timeline of it, knowing they were gonna start tomorrow, the new FTC? Like, we were just up there for half an hour with some of the powers that be behind the scenes and trying to understand why you're in the situation you're in, and could you have done something differently to have not gotten here?
That's certainly possible, and that's something that we're going to absolutely be reviewing. I'll tell you, all of my focus has been on the most urgent task is ensuring that we are able to provide continuity of trash services for the 65,000 residents, 65,000 plus residents that are experiencing a transition this week. I think there is some postmortem for us to do to figure out kind of some of those things. Obviously, there's one significant thing that happened differently than anyone was expecting that has been widely covered in the news. I am appreciative of the way that we've been able to work with our city council members over the last couple of weeks to figure out, based on where we are right now, how do we carve a pathway forward. And like I said, I expect all these issues to be resolved for the long term so that we can continue operations as we, in the meantime, through the emergency declaration, as we find the long-term disposition.
Well, the city council action, did that unexpectedly throw a wrench in the plans to get it done on time?
I obviously disagree with the city council vote. I've shared that publicly. The city council has the right to use the information that they have in front of them. I believe they were given information that told them that the vote that they took would not impact operations. That inaccurately shared that with them. So we were expecting that to be to pass. We were expecting that to advance at that point in time. And yes, we had to shift our approach to this when that wasn't the case.
Councilmember Bowie, can you explain, this council voted unanimously on this on March 20th, 21st. Why the change of heart?
So, like the mayor had mentioned before, I think when council did make this vote, we heard from the public, and two of the things that had inaccuracies was the similar use. Was this same or similar use? And one of the issues that we heard was from residents is that there will be an increase in volume and it'll also be a different use in terms of refueling. Those concerns are still relevant today, but what's even more dire and more important is that people have their trash collected. And what's more important is that there's a site for our garbage trucks to be at so people know that there's not going to be a disruption in service. And then another thing about this is there is a difference in contracts. So we were all prepared April 1st to go into this new transition of trash operations. And with this change, you know, as a council and also the mayor, we have some time to actually work together to figure out what would be the change of action. But I know most importantly, if we already have a location at the 560 Randolph site and is already operating, we need to ensure that there's not a disruption to that. I know I'm here. I know I'm going to be on board. We have Councilmember Johnson as well. I can allow her to speak on that. But I think this is something that all council members are hearing about since the latest of the vote. I know our residents have been loud and clear that they do not want to see a disruption in their services. So I think it's not a change of heart. It's more so of we have to be practical. we have to be reasonable, and we have to make sure we're putting the residents first when it comes to their collection.
And to be clear, and I said again, we sort of delineate two issues. One is the long-term kind of zoning issues of the site. I shared with you what the position of the administration is and the approach that we're moving forward. I expect there will continue to be disagreement where the long-term disposition of that site on Randolph is concerned. At the same time, I've been appreciative of the consensus that we have among elected leaders, among elected city leaders. I believe we have absolutely no more urgent task in front of us right now this week than ensuring the continuity of our trash hauling, that our residents are able to know with certainty that that their trash is going to be picked up. And so we're making a distinction between those two tasks on the latter in terms of ensuring the continuity and agreeing and continuing the state of emergency. I fully expect to be able to work cooperatively with our city council to move that forward.
But aren't you worried about a change with a council decision putting the city at legal risk?
I'm sorry, can you clarify the question?
Legal risk with, you've got a neighborhood that's pretty angry. They thought they had if the council if FCC would come in, there's a good chance neighbors could, well, anybody could sue, we know that. But do you worry about legal action from, say, the Federation, the West Seventh neighbors, if there's a reversal and, it's fine to have this facility here?
Jane, I'm never not worried about legal action. So I'm always worried about legal action. And it's not, I don't see it as a reversal of the council decision. The council determined that a maintenance and dispatch facility, the question in front of the city council was, is a maintenance and dispatch facility similar enough to a public works and maintenance facility to allow a maintenance and dispatch facility to go there? The reason a public works and maintenance facility was a standard of comparison is because a public works and maintenance facility is expressly permitted on an I-1 zoned site. And so moving forward from the city council's vote, this doesn't reverse the city council's vote. In effect, I can understand how a resident could feel that it does. We have moved away from the definition or description that our zoning administrator determined, interpreted as a maintenance and dispatch facility. But FCC still owns the property, and they still have the legal right to do anything on the property that is consistent with the underlying zoning of the property. That still is a light industrial property, and that still very explicitly says that a public works and maintenance facility is expressly allowed there. And so in just the same as many of us live on residentially zoned properties and we have the legal right to live there, even if someone else says, I got a better idea for what could happen on your property. In just the same, FCC still has the right as the owner of the property to use it in manner that are consistent with the underlying zoning of the property, and that's how we're moving forward.
And
So.
how do you think tomorrow's gonna go? You think they're gonna be up and at 'em, the FCC people, and getting people's garbage tomorrow?
You know what? I look forward to getting this conversation out of City Hall and into the community, and I think our community is going to see the level of readiness that our city employees, as well as that the folks at FCC have brought to this to be able to keep trash going, the continuity of trash. And we're talking about the continuity of trash, but one of the things that we're really excited about is some of the improvements to the contract, and many of you have covered that before, the improvements to the contract. So it's not just continuity. I, for one, am looking forward to the expansion, in particular of bulky items, and the ability for neighbors to put out one a month as opposed to 3 in a year, and all of the ways in which the enhancements that our staff worked with FCC to negotiate into the future contract are going to improve our lives, not just sort of keep it moving as is. I have to acknowledge the folks who are standing behind me. I tell folks all the time, I am acutely aware that my job oftentimes ends up being to very heroically and courageously give speeches and sign documents, while other folks are working really, really hard to serve people on the ground in community. Our team has worked very hard. We're very proud of these municipal garbage trucks. City staff will be responsible for about 10% of the routes throughout the city. That's a first for us to be able to kind of get us through challenging moments. We've seen challenging moments with private haulers in the past, and that's a capacity that allows us to, one, put folks to work in our community while providing a critical public service. So we're excited about that. I'm appreciative of the work of the folks you've heard from today, the folks who are standing here as support are all critical parts of the fabric that we'll get to see in operation, again, as this conversation moves beyond City Hall and into our communities. Thank you all for coming out.